Hi there! Welcome. I'm Hawa Hassan, founder and CEO of Basbaas Sauce. Basbaas is a line of condiments from the continent of Africa, and I'm also the author of new cookbook in BIBI'S Kitchen, which is based on the 8 African countries that hug the Indian Ocean. It's exploration of recipes and stories from the perspective of grandmothers. These days, what I miss the most is inviting friends over and cooking, especially the part where everyone's in the kitchen waiting and there's commotion and chatter. So my friends at Pop-Up Magazine invited me to make one of my favorite dishes. It's Bariis. It's a Somali rice dish. It's the base of most of our daily meals. Bariis literally translates to cook and bring together. And I've invited a few friends to join me. First, we have the brilliant artist, Willis. Hank is the founder of 4 Freedoms and the Wide Awakes, artist collective dedicated to civic engagement. He's joined by Marc Bamuthi Joseph, poet, playwright, actor, dancer, and the artistic director of the social impact at the Kennedy Center. You can find all the information about tonight's dinner and my guests below. Let's get cooking, y'all. So let me introduce you to all of the ingredients that are gonna go in our bariis. We've got our basmati rice, raisins, our hawaj, which is the backbone of all Somali cooking. It's very reflective of the Indian Ocean. I call it the garam masala of Somalia. In it, we have cumin, cardamom, cinnamon, cloves. Black peppercorn is what really gives it the warmth of it. This is what really brings the whole dish together. We've got some tomato, red onion, garlic. Here we go. I'll warm this up on high heat before adding our red onions. So our onions are looking soft. I'm going to go ahead and throw in our cloves and our cinnamon bark. I will stir and mix this until it's fragrant, which is about another 5 minutes. The bariis is very much cooked in a pilaf style, which means that the aromatics go in first, such as the onions, the garlic. I like to throw in my cinnamon, my cloves to really just hold on to the juices of the onion so that the whole dish can feel really complete at the end. I throw in our garlic and a pinch of cardamom. Maybe I'll do more than a pinch because I really love cardamom. I like to dance when I cook, but you know, I'll wait till the end to do my dancing when we do the tasting. Our tomatoes have completely evaporated. I'm going to add our rice. I want to coat the rice with all the ingredients that are in here so that there's like a nutty taste to it before putting in the water, hawaj, and the raisins. So here we go. This is when it comes handy having a pot that's heavier on the bottom. See, everything's just cooking evenly. The hawaj will give it a spicy, savory, like a warm, savory taste, and the raisins will give it a very sweet taste. I like to say that the slogan of Somalia is sweet and savory. Now that our rice is cooking, I'll let it sit for 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'll enjoy a drink with my friends. Hey, Marc and Hank. Thanks for joining me.
What's up, Hawa? Cheers, family.
Hey, thank you so much. Looking forward to it. Oh, man. This is a wonderful time for Black joy in a time of chaos. Is that what it's called?
More or less an hour. What is time?
Oh,
as a new dad, you know that more than anything.
Yeah, right. I remember watching you perform with, was it your son on your back?
Yeah, I remember doing this performance in Union Square, maybe. There were like 10,000 people there. And I had him in like a Bjorn right behind me. And it was the first time that I felt truly vulnerable on stage, not emotionally, but physically.
Where, I mean, literally just last night I was talking to Alicia from the Black Joy Parade.
Yeah.
And we're talking about that work of yours.
Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos. The Public Enemy song was a very familiar refrain for me. And that's where the title came from, Black Joy in the Hour of Chaos. And during our closing weekend, Dylan Roof went into Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, and killed 9 people where they were praying. And that was a bookended moment. And you speak of performance, and that's what I think we're called to do
Mm-hmm.
is transmutation and taking the energy of the moment, taking responsibility for the energy of the moment to serve as a filter or funnel and try to invoke something else. This idea of Black joy, thankfully, has become more and more popularized and is in our collective lexicon. But at the time, folks weren't using that vocabulary as much. And I guess whether that's the lexicon, that's the jargon or not, I feel like that's a thing that we definitely have in common, you and I, a kind of understanding of the literacy of our pain and of our history, and a design and a desire to make something else from that.
I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, they tell us that the Black experience is something we should be all sad about. I'm not going to pretend it's easy. It's all I know, so I can't say.
Yeah.
But when I think about my family and the people, the wisdom in the Black communities that shaped me, the most of what I think about is joy, and it's a joy that is connected to oppression and suppression that is so defiant. It's like the most indestructible element in the universe. It's like adamantium or vibranium.
Yeah, vibranium. It's true.
Where like they've tried to crush it in every possible way and stamp it out for 400 plus years.
Yeah.
And it still survives.
So there's joy, and but also there is stability. The sense of anchoring yourself, stabilizing yourself with the knowledge of the narrative of struggle, knowing that that's just kind of always running in the background. But there's like, well, how am I something other than my struggle?
I've been thinking about this, that we have these non-creative people that are designing the laws that shape our life.
Yes.
And the world is in dire straits because of it. Because even if they have creative capacity, they don't tap into that. Maybe we've been getting it back. Maybe the reason that we haven't gotten over age-old issues that are not that complicated is because we're not using the creativity and the creatives right.
Can you talk about the wide awakes as brokers of truth?
I first learned about the wide awakes 2009.
Okay.
And I didn't know what they were. I was like, wide awake. And it's an I. If you Google wide awakes 1860, you'll see this incredible branding of this 1860 abolitionist movement. Largely young white men, not exclusively, who felt a moral responsibility to end slavery now, like this year.
Yeah.
And I realized that like the framework of being wide awake is like you have to pinch yourself to make sure that you're still awake, because it's about being ever present and being in contact with the now and not getting too comfortable with your own virtues or sense of self, because each of us are in a process of growing, and that collectively, if we can reframe the truth as something that is changing with the communities that we're in, with the people who are telling the narratives, and we can decide that this is a horrible time, it's an hour of chaos, or it's an hour of community, because nowhere more in the world, no time ever in my life have more people been in the same feeling of awareness of each of our breaths. So anyway, it's a whole crazy thing, but I got to just tell you, bro, you're a wide awake. You've been through your performance, through your courage as an administrator, like through your parenting, your ability to be vulnerable and recognizing that your vulnerability is in your strength. Like, you've been inspiring me so long. And I this is not, no one owns a 19th century movement, and it's a leaderful movement, not leaderless. And I've been following you for a long time, and I appreciate it. So I wonder if and when you will be ready to run for Senate.
I'm too emotional. My feelings would get hurt. I would cry. I wouldn't last a second on the debate stage.
That's why I think it's a good thing. That's why I think it's a good thing. I think that there are not enough of us in the creative field that are taking that responsibility. And that's why I salute you with the work that you've been doing for the past.
I love that. I agree with you. I talk a lot about cultural leadership. I thought a lot about this moment as a moment of trauma that is shared by the planet. And I've thought about how individuals are diagnosed by doctors and societies are diagnosed by artists. And alongside the diagnosis of a creative person or a set of creative people, there is the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the way that leadership structures tend to be configured, you have a whole bunch of economic people advising on an economic thing. You have a whole bunch of environmentalists, et cetera. Coming from the Bay, I think more about integrative healing and integrative medicine.
When so many of our leaders have been traumatized and then they've been taught to pretend that they weren't.
Yes. Yes.
It's no wonder why we act out in the ways that we do. And the responsibility of those of us who are wide awake. Yeah. I'm awake. I got to pitch myself to make sure I'm not dreaming. Is to take, to open our eyes collectively, and not only individually, but collectively, just literally like, if I'm traumatized, if I'm in pain, how can I help anyone else?
And I think that maybe that's what we do as artists. At the very least, we pinch people and make sure that they're awake.
It's best to pinch ourselves first, because I think sometimes we go out all sleep in our own.
Yes.
Wake up! What are you doing over there? And that's why I think they don't always get us. And that's why I think our responsibility is to make sure that we are not coming from our triggered, traumatized place, which is not an invalid place.
Sure.
Yet when we try to communicate, that we communicate in the spirit and with the essence of the ancestors with whom we want to honor. And that's like a tall order.
That's real spit, man. That's a word. Brother, every time I talk to you, man, I grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think dinner's ready.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Hawa, what's up? We ready to eat?
Thanks, guys. That was great. Dinner is actually ready, so let me check on the rice. It looks incredible. This rice is able to go from 3 to 4 days of refrigeration. You can repurpose it in the morning, put an egg on top of it. You can also make a stew, put that on top of it. It goes great as a base for many, many different things. Don't feel any type of way about using it in many different varieties once you've already made it. Gonna go ahead and see what we created. Oh, this is where the dance comes in. This is really good. This is incredible. I feel like I'm at my mom's kitchen. Thank you all for tuning in. This was such a blast. Thank you guys. This was an incredible conversation and one so timely. All of the information regarding Marc, Hank, and our Bariis is down below. I look forward to seeing everybody soon. Bye.